Today on MuscleCar, Jared and Lou will fill you in on the merits of filler. Plus, the GTO is the epitome of classic muscle. We'll go for a spin in an ultra-rare gold-plated goat.
Welcome to MuscleCar. The difference between a good restoration and a great one is all in the details.
And that's what we're doing today on our Crate Camaro, but we're not restoring this classic muscle car because all of our parts are completely new. This is year one's all-new 69 Camaro convertible. It started with an at-the-market Dynacorn body and parts added a catalog. Since these old classics are becoming rarer and rarer by the day, completely assembling this bow tie from scratch with all new parts is not that far-fetched.
We've been on our Camaro for a couple weeks now, and so far we've dropped our ZZ4 crate motor from GM Performance Parts into our new front clip. Then we went ahead and lined all the body panels up and got our gaps straight. Now you could go ahead and paint this thing as it sits, but we're going to go way over the top with this sucker, and I'm talking perfect.
True muscle car guys know what we're talking about here. Little dings in the steel, stuff that new cars would have, little waves in the primer here. We're going to fix all of this because what we want is 0 imperfections, and we want a 100-point car, so it's going to be really sharp when we get done.
Perfect body lines are going to start with this stuff right here. Now I want to clear up some misconceptions that go along with it. As long as you're not using plastic filler to fill holes or fix structural damage, it's going to be your friend. Now when I used to work at Rad Rides, we work on these ultra high-end cars and we get them looking perfect in bare metal. And then people would see them and they'd see them down at the body shop and be like, oh, why are you putting filler on that car? And the reason is you're not going to get that perfect paint job without using this stuff. You're going to be able to use it to quickly dial in body lines because it just doesn't benefit you to try and get it perfect in bare metal. So you get your shapes established in metal and then you refine them with this stuff. And we're going to show you the right way to use plastic filler.
The first step for our Crate Camaro is for us to sand down the sealer using DA sanders and 180 grit sandpaper on the whole car.
The reason for sanding the car is so that the primer and the filler that are going to go on after this step have something to grab onto, just scratching that panel up so it has something to attach to. Here's a high and a low spot. You can see where this is still a little bit shiny, and this is obviously cut down to bare metal. It's because the panel's lower here, so the sander isn't quite getting to it yet. So these are things that you don't really see until you sand, but they're things that would show up had we just put paint on the car. Dent. Dents are bad.
Is that far enough for that?
Yeah, that's perfect. We decided to get the good-looking wheels off this thing so we can trash these wheels. We can get mud on them or whatever we want, paint, then it won't matter. Now that's a car.
Once the car is completely sanded down, we'll go back to the areas that need filler and sand them down further with a rougher 80 grit sandpaper.
Grind this area.
Well, I didn't want to.
Grind it.
Okay.
I'm just messing with you. This is a straight edge, you know, this is what we're looking for. We want these two panels to be in a straight line. And here you can see that the fender kind of trails off a little bit. This is where you're going to use filler to build that point out so these two match perfectly.
We're going to put some stuff in there called all metal. And it's what all metal does, it's tougher than mud. And it resists shrinking, but all metal is by no stretch of the imagination a final skim coat. We're going to go back, put mud on it, and then it'll be finished.
Plastic filler and all metal mix the same way. They both require a catalyst to harden. So you put it on the mixing sheets, add the hardener, mix it all together. And make sure you do this thoroughly. You want it all in even color. Oh, man, all this sanding ain't easy, but it's necessary. This here is referred to as a longboard. You always want to use the largest tool that you can for each job because you're contacting more surface area and you're less likely to sand a groove. And then that's why I'm changing directions too, because I don't want to just go in the same direction all the time. But don't change directions while you're sanding. Stop and then change directions. I switched to a round block for the radiuses. The reason for that's pretty obvious. You got a round shape, you want to use a round block. You got a flat shape, you want to use a flat block. I'm taking my time and really paying attention. My main focus with this whole part is that these two body lines come perfect together. The thing that I really want to focus on is sanding one side at a time and keep coming back. Sand this side and then that side. And it's going to create a really nice point across here. Oh yeah, that sucker's coming in nice. What'd you do? You blew it.
I'm trying to be a body man.
Looks good, man.
Get this out of your way.
I love doing that too. Man, it looks really good. I'm ready to move into some filler on that and call it a day. All right, Lou. It don't get much better than that, dude. When you put your eye down on this thing, it's gonna look like glass.
Yeah, see, yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, a little bit of body work, man. I'm telling you, it just gets dialed in after that.
And see now, now I know what you're talking about. The line is just nice and crisp, you know? So what's next?
Primer, but first let's stab the engine in that Challenger.
And you'll see that after the break.
Plus, later on, a GTO that's the rarest Tiger of them all when MuscleCar continues.
Welcome back. You know, a lot of people ask why we're not restoring our Challenger to original condition. The answer to that's pretty simple.
This car's not a numbers matching car. It's 36 years old, but with all the modern race parts we're throwing on this thing, it's gonna have the sex appeal of the original, and it's gonna handle like a race car. And to do that, we started with this K-member from Red Top Speed Shop and added some trick air ride suspension parts.
And here it is. Race car handling deserves race car power. And it starts right here with this killer Hemi from Mopar Performance. 528 cubic inches and 610 horsepower. This thing is gonna be bad, but it's gonna need a bad tranny to back it up. And with that in mind, we're gonna put in this Kiesler Engineering Perfect Fit Overdrive 5-speed transmission. It's a direct replacement for Chrysler's A833 4-speed, featuring a custom engineered tail housing with the world's only true internal shifter, offset to fit the original shifter location.
This tranny will let us bang through the gears to take full advantage of those 373s in our Dana 60. And we'll be able to hit the highway and roll at 1,500 RPMs. But first, we got a couple issues we got to take care of. The ground clearance on our Challenger is 5 inches. So we're gonna have to raise up that big Hemi to make some room. Can't wait. The first thing we're gonna do,
All right.
coming up, is put the engine and trans into our Challenger so we can see what kind of modifications we'll have to make. Here you go, the Matco 5-speed stool.
It goes without saying, putting a Hemi in this thing is cool enough, but bolting a 5-speed to it just takes it to a whole new level. The Hemi weighs nearly double what most small block V8s weigh, so we'll use a forklift to make this job a little easier. Okay. All right, hang on, I'm gonna take the oil filter off. Whoop.
Here we go. How's that?
More, 10 inches. Go under, start using that 2x4.
We'll have to cut an opening for the shifter. But before we do that, we need something to protect our transmission casing.
Ready? Let's venture into the unknown.
100 feet away is our sister show, Extreme 4x4.
You got some kind of a fire blanket?
Some leathers or something?
What? Anything.
My leathers.
That's what I'm
Do you?
talking about.
Yeah.
Way to step up, Jesse Combs from Extreme 4x4.
How I do it?
All right, let's go. After some discussion, we decided to save the Challenger's original shifter bracket, then cut a small section of the floor big enough to get our shifter up inside the cab.
Yeah, just go up. Oh, look at that! It's like, you totally burned her leathers up.
Okay.
No, they're not. They like molded to the shape of the shifter.
Okay.
That's my favorite. All right, go straight up. Whoa!
Let's check this baby out. I got about 4 inches over here. Everything's bolted in its stock location. What do you got?
I can't even fit my finger in this side.
And that's how Chrysler used to get their U-joints to work. They would actually move the whole engine over towards the passenger side.
And for us, crooked just isn't gonna cut it. Okay, both our front end from Red Top Speed Shop and our parts from Kiesler work great in the stock locations, but since we're gonna center this engine up, we got a lot more fabrication ahead of us.
You think Jesse might be upset about our
And I think we're gonna sneak these back over to Extreme.
It's funny now, but how will Jesse react when the guys give him back? Find out later on when MuscleCar continues.
I'm coming to get you. You're buying me new leather.
Without a doubt, you could spell the beginning of the MuscleCar era with 3 letters, GTO. And we've got a look at the rarest of the rare.
MuscleCar Flashback. This week, the 65 GTO Tiger.
The MuscleCar phenomenon really got traction in 1964 when Pontiac wedged a big V8 in an intermediate. The hot 389 option package turned the wimpy Tempest into the legendary GTO.
A year later, Pontiac built over 75,000 GTOs, but they only made one of these. This GTO Tiger is a fully optioned, unrestored goat that was a Hurst-equipped promotional car in 1965.
It was based on a new mid-size 2-door body by Fisher Sport coupe with a Cordura top, dummy scoop hood, vertical stacked headlights, and a blacked out recessed grille. Tiger rolls on double forged gold-plated Hurst Dazzler wheels, wrapped appropriately in U.S. Royal Tiger Pour Redline boots.
GTO badges and unique gold side exhaust splitters complete the profile. The back end features an integrated rear inset and tail lights with 6 chrome ribs. The Tiger looked the part, and it played the part.
The optional Tri-Power 389 featured a new cam, intake, and new cylinder heads, fed by 3 deuces tied together with mechanical linking. The bottom line? About 360 horses and a stump pulling 425 pounds of torque.
The package was good for 0 to 60 in 6.6 and ripped through the quarter at 14.5 seconds at 100 miles an hour with plenty of burning rubber and induction noise.
To this day is the ultimate 65 GTO. I don't think there's anybody that can compete with a Pontiac Engineering built promotional car in a special paint color that was Hurst Gold.
Golden Touch also included anti-theft gold-plated Hurst wheels and a gold-plated Hurst stick to control the close ratio Muncie 4-speed. A plush rolled interior, 4-way buckets, Detroit's first padded dash with a much-needed grab bar, and the industry's first AM/FM radio with reverb. Rounds out the ultimate upscale muscle car.
The GTO option put Pontiac on the map, and the Tiger put GTO on the map. Today, Colin Comer's rare GTO Tiger is a priceless piece of muscle car history with a value in the 6-figure range. But it can still do today what it was built to do 40 years ago.
We're back at MuscleCar, and we're in the process of muscling our huge Hemi crate motor into our 70 Challenger.
All right, in lieu of the fact that we're going to center everything up and move it up, the engine and tranny anyway, And this floor is rotten to begin with. We're just gonna cut it all out. Luckily, I got my boy, the Human Torch over here, to run the plasma cutter. Once he gets done, we're gonna get on the phone, call a couple guys who know how to do sheet metal work and get this sucker replaced.
Flame on.
We burned the collar! Oh, it's still on fire.
All right, with our measurements taken, we can start making our new motor mount, which will be a lot easier with the drivetrain added air. Watch your head.
Okay, stop. Now's the time to consider things like steering linkage clearance, oil pump clearance, firewall clearance. We're gonna take care of all those issues before we finish our mount. Tell me when you're happy.
Right there.
We'll tack these temporary stanchions that'll hold the motor in place until we double check all of our clearances.
Well, our Hemi's sitting in the middle of the engine bay like it should.
Yeah, it was a lot of extra fabrication, but man, it looks so much better.
Adios.
Later. Hello, Miss Combs.
Hi, guys.
Hey, just before you go home, we're gonna give you back your leathers. Thanks for letting us borrow them.
Oh my God, you
What did you do to him?
Oh, smack 'em, yak 'em.
Here, we don't want you to think that we kept everything.
Oh yeah. Don't mess with us, right?
intentionally
See,
did this.
we
You're
get
buying me
even,
new
dog.
leathers, punk.
We ain't
I'm
doing
coming
nothing.
to get you. You're buying me new leathers.
I'm building a muscle car.
Oh,
That's
don't
all
think
I'm
you're
doing.
getting away with this.
No. Muscle car.
I can't believe that. These are mine.
I know they are. I can't believe it. That's like hard. That's just mean.